your Postgres cluster backup is 500 GB, but the database actually you need to recover is 5 GB. So if you could restore only that, then you should skip entirely. Most of the DBA things, the restoration means which could perform the entire cluster, which means you are bringing back the entire cluster, all the databases, all the disk space, all the wait time. When you are under pressure during an incident, restoring a 500 GB just to get one database backup is painful and slow. Sometimes it's not possible when the target machine doesn't have a space. But to overcome the issue, the pgBackRest have a future. Most of the people doesn't know it exists. To get the selective restore, you can tell it which database you want to restore it, only one. The rest of the cluster still it's here, but it stored as a spare zeroed files taking almost zero disk space. Here is the catch, nobody talks about that. Those skip database files will error if you try to connect them. That is actually by a design. Stick around because this behavior trips people up every single time. We are going to discuss about pgBackRest selective database restore it. What is it, how it works, that will catch you off the production and save your disk space. Because you are having a 500 GB or 2 TB of production database, but you want to just perform a single database restoration to your lower environment to test some of the future. In this scenario, you have to take an entire physical backup and restore it on your lower environment. What you will do, you will take a logical dump of the particular database and restore it on your lower environment. If you have know this feature, you can easily handle it and save the storage spaces. You have a two databases, which is test 1 and test 2. So you are taken the full backup, so which is like the backup will be like, you already aware that each and every databases will be the id under the base directory. You can see that there was a two ids related to this particular two databases, your pgBackRest. So you can use this set command of the particular backup, use the info, you will get the list of databases which is present on the backup. Now you can see that Postgres, test1 and test2 also there. Now you want to get the only test2 database has to perform the restoration. You don't want to go with the entire thing because it's a demo, right? So what we are going to use, we are going to instruct the pgBackRest use this particular option and mention the test2 only, which includes that only you are going to restore the particular db from the overall, either a full backup or incremental backup. Okay, and the target action, you can use the promote or you can use that immediate. So but it is um, uh, it is mandatory for restoration to keep it as a immediate. Okay, so this, you know already that template 0, template 1, Postgres databases or default databases which always restored by default. Okay, so the db include which is specifically mentioned for example, I have a Nike test1 test2. If I am going to include test2, it will ignore the Nike and test1 databases, and all the default databases will be restored along with the database which we mentioned in the db include. For example, how we have to do, so we have to just start that and we have to get the number of tables, which is number of tables and the number of rows. We are going to identify that once the restoration has been done, right? So here that technically the cluster have the test one, but when you try to attend the connect or this database, because it is already zeroed files, you will get an error. Like, so you will get this kind of error. You can see it is a invalid data because the relation map is does not this was purposeful, because sometimes user may try to connect and do that activity. So to avoid that, so which is we are getting this kind of error message. And what exactly will happening in the sense, so this particular uh, OS layer level, that spare files are make it as a zero, which means you saw that, right? In the test zero under the base directory, you will see that particular database directory. So over there all the files has been zeroed pages, because um, um, it was successfully applied wall files on this file, but the database remains fundamentally invalid. To core key files contains only no actual data. So it's similar, like you can assume that we are just restoring that particular database only, so that even though those database which presents at the database level, which as already as a empty or invalid. Okay, so what you have to do, once the restoration has been successfully done, the backrest cannot be dropped the other databases. So what you have to do, we have to manually drop these databases. We can say like, uh, to avoid the confusion, we are going to maintain only the test2 database. Okay, because to avoid the confusion, we are going to drop it manually. So you may understand like what is the difference of when I am going to perform a full and selective restore. So that when you are going to perform a full restoration, so which requires the exact disk space, and you have to just to restore the database, right? Sorry, you are going to restore all the objects. But when comes to the selective restore, right, which is required of that particular database size and minimal of wall file. And how about that RTO? So here actually it depends upon the how much data you are using it, what kind of hardware you are uh, using in that particular machine. But here since we are going to restore the particular DB, which is very linear, and what is the flag we are going to use in the pgBackRest? Here we are going to use hyphen restore for the full restoration. But here actually we have to use hyphen db include of database name, and which should be in the immediate, right? Post restoration action, which is none. So here actually we are going to drop it manually, right? So let's use the PostgreSQL 15 select version. Okay, so to get the databases, so here actually we have a test, temp demo, and postgres, right? Let's verify the what are the tables are there in the test. So we have a t1 t2 t3. Just select count of star from t1. Okay, so t2 have 5. Again, let's connect temp demo. I believe, okay, it doesn't have any tables. Create table t1 id equal to int. Insert into t1 values. Okay, let's verify t1. Okay, so now you can see that uh, we have another database name called temp demo, and which have the record of only one. Okay, now just to verify the pgBackRest, pgBackRest if instance of pgBackRest demo info. Okay, so I just taken a new incremental backup because created a new table in the temp demo. So the backup is successful. Now we can verify the backup detail. You can see that this is the backup and the overall size was this one, right? So as I mentioned in the command, we can verify the uh, this particular backup details load by info. So you can see here from the incremental backup, if you see what are the databases which is part of this particular incremental backup. So you can see here that Postgres also there, temp demo is there, and this temp tbl demo also there, this test database also which is present, and you can see here there was a some particular temp table space as well present of this cluster. Okay, now if you on over there, you can see the list of IDs. So the ID is 145, which is belongs to default databases, and these three IDs are belongs to that test database, uh, temp demo, and another one is temp tbl demo. So why we have to take a copy of this backup? Sometimes you may have the pghb entry or which is differ from one server to another server. So during the restoration from one server to another server, you may lose that file. So because of that, you are unable to connect your that particular environment applications. To overcome that, so what we are going to do, we are taking the old backup into somewhere, so which helps us not losing any files. Even though in case we want to refer any other thing, we have a this particular manual backup as well. Okay, there you go. We have just created the demo, right? We'll drop this database. Now the database has been dropped, so we have stopped the database as well. Okay, now the database has been already dropped, so we are going to perform the particular db only. So the command is, what is the command? Okay, so let's wait for that. So the database restoration has been completed. Now you can just connect the database using pgctl -d lib pg SQL 15 data start. Okay, the database has been started. So before starting this video, I have shown the list of tables and the database perspective. Let's connect that. So you can see here invalid data, so which was I already explained that this is not a error. Now I will use a temp tbl demo as well. Still I am getting the same thing because this 7401683 does not contains any values, which means these files of the OS level has been already zerofied. Now if you just connect only temp underscore demo, so you will get that this is the table actually you have connected, and you can see that there was one table which we have recently created it. Now you can just do the t1, so one record will be there. This is totally fine. Successfully done the single database restoration. So this will helpful for when the scenarios you are going to perform at the production to UAT server, you want to just one single database, you have just add the any full backup or incremental backup. Using the backrest we can achieve this. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you like this video you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.